Sir, my concern is not whether God is on our side. My greatest concern is to be on God's side, for God is always right. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by avoiding it today. You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. No man has a good enough memory to be a successful liar. How many legs does a dog have if you call his tail a leg? 4. Saying that a tail is a leg doesn't make it a leg. The philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation will be the philosophy of government in the next. Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. Government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Character is like a tree and reputation like a shadow. The shadow is what we think of it. The tree is the real thing. I don't like that man. I must get to know him better. The ballot is stronger than the bullet. All that I am, or hope to be, I owe to my angel mother. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any other.
I do the very best I know how, the very best I can, and I mean to keep on doing so until the end.
Be sure you put your feet in the right place, then stand firm. When I do good I feel good. When I do bad I feel bad, and that's my religion. I am a slow walker, but I never walk back. It has been my experience that folks who have no vices have very few virtues. We the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution but to overthrow the men who pervert the Constitution. I will prepare and someday my chance will come. As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. This expresses my idea of democracy. My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure. I am a firm believer in the people. If given the truth, they can be depended upon to meet any national crisis. The great point is to bring them the real facts. Don't worry when you are not recognized, but strive to be worthy of recognition.
If this is coffee, please bring me some tea, but if this is tea, please bring me some coffee.
The best way to get a bad law repealed is to enforce it strictly. I have always found that mercy bears richer fruits than strict justice. Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends? Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves, and under the rule of a just God, cannot long retain it.
I like to see a man proud of the place in which he lives. I like to see a man live so that his place will be proud of him.
My dream is of a place and a time where America will once again be seen as the last best hope of earth. The probability that we may fail in the struggle ought not to deter us from the support of a cause we believe to be just. You have to do your own growing no matter how tall your grandfather was. Marriage is neither heaven nor hell, it is simply purgatory. That some achieve great success, is proof to all that others can achieve it as well. Avoid popularity if you would have peace. He has a right to criticize, who has a heart to help. Important principles may, and must, be inflexible. Let's have faith that right makes might, and in that faith let us, to the end, dare to do our duty as we understand it. If we could first know where we are, and whither we are tending, we could then better judge what to do, and how to do it. A friend is one who has the same enemies as you have. I do not think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. I remember my mother's prayers and they have always followed me. They have clung to me all my life. No man is good enough to govern another man without the other's consent. We should be too big to take offense and too noble to give it. No matter how much cats fight, there always seem to be plenty of kittens. With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds. The things I want to know are in books. My best friend is the man who'll get me a book I ain't read. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Public sentiment is everything. With public sentiment, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. A woman is the only thing I am afraid of that I know will not hurt me. I want it said of me by those who knew me best, that I always plucked a thistle and planted a flower where I thought a flower would grow. Towering genius disdains a beaten path, it seeks regions hitherto unexplored. Don't interfere with anything in the Constitution. That must be maintained, for it is the only safeguard of our liberties. Whenever I hear anyone arguing for slavery, I feel a strong impulse to see it tried on him personally. I care not much for a man's religion whose dog and cat are not the better for it. Let not him who is houseless pull down the house of another, but let him work diligently and build one for himself, thus by example assuring that his own shall be safe from violence when built. The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise with the occasion. As our case is new, so we must think anew and act anew. When I am getting ready to reason with a man, I spend 1/3 of my time thinking about myself and what I am going to say, and 2/3 about him and what he is going to say. If you think you can slander a woman into loving you, or a man into voting for you, try it till you are satisfied. I know that the Lord is always on the side of the right, but it is my constant anxiety and prayer that I and this nation may be on the Lord's side.
Stand with anybody that stands right, stand with him while he is right, and part with him when he goes wrong. We think the Dred Scott decision is erroneous. We know the court that made it has often overruled its own decisions, and we shall do what we can to have it overrule this. I am humble Abraham Lincoln. I have been solicited by my friends to become a candidate for the legislature. My politics are short and sweet, like the old woman's dance. True patriotism is better than the wrong kind of piety. The way for a young man to rise is to improve himself in every way he can, never suspecting that anybody wishes to hinder him. If I were two-faced, would I be wearing this one? If once you forfeit the confidence of your fellow citizens, you can never regain their respect and esteem. The assertion that all men are created equal was of no practical use in effecting our separation from Great Britain, and it was placed in the Declaration not for that, but for future use. These men ask for just the same thing, fairness, and fairness only. This, so far as in my power, they, and all others, shall have. When you have got an elephant by the hind legs and he is trying to run away, it's best to let him run. I don't know who my grandfather was, I am much more concerned to know what his grandson will be. I never had a policy, I have just tried to do my very best each and every day. I was born and have ever remained in the most humble walks of life. Everyone desires to live long, but no one would be old. He who molds the public sentiment, makes statutes and decisions possible or impossible to make. Tact is the ability to describe others as they see themselves. In this sad world of ours, sorrow comes to all, and to the young, it comes with bitterest agony because it takes them unawares. I have had experience enough to know what I say. Common-looking people are the best in the world, that is the reason the Lord makes so many of them. Never regret what you don't write. The leading rule for the lawyer, as for the man of every calling, is diligence. With the fearful strain that is on me night and day, if I did not laugh I should die. Gold is good in its place, but loving, brave, patriotic men are better than gold. In giving freedom to the slave, we assure freedom to the free, honorable alike in that we give and what we preserve. We shall nobly save, or meanly lose, the last best hope of earth. I can make more generals, but horses cost money. Hold on with a bulldog grip, and chew and choke as much as possible. I am rather inclined to silence. Standing as I do, with my hand upon the staff, and under the folds of the American flag, I ask you to stand by me so long as I stand by it. When I hear a man preach, I like to see him act as if he were fighting bees. As our case is new, we must think and act anew. With public sentiment, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. Some single mind must be master, else there will be no agreement in anything. If there is anything that a man can do well, I say let him do it. Give him a chance. The highest art is always the most religious, and the greatest artist is always a devout person. I hope to stand firm enough to not go backward, and yet not go forward fast enough to wreck the country's cause.
I have great respect for the semicolon, it is a mighty handy little fellow. The time comes upon every public man when it is best for him to keep his lips closed. 77 years ago our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.